Listen, are you tired of telling yourself you're going to start working out and then you give up 2 weeks later? Are you tired of telling yourself I'm going to start eating healthier, but then binge on an entire large pizza pie by yourself? Are you tired of telling yourself you're going to get your work done and then all of a sudden it's an hour before your due date and you have done nothing? No offense, but aren't you sick of disappointing yourself over and over again? Well, girly pop, I am calling you out because this was also me 5 years ago. I had zero discipline. I was a chronic procrastinator and it seemed like I couldn't stick to any goal even when I tried. But don't worry, you clicked on the right video. In this video, I'm gonna be sharing tips to actually help you build discipline, stick to any goal you set for yourself, and stop procrastinating. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Lena. I have a self-help series here on my channel where we discuss all things becoming your best self. So if you're not subscribed already,
what are you doing?
Okay.
What are you doing?
Go subscribe right now. So understand what it means to have discipline. So what does it mean to have discipline? Being a woman or man of your word. Having discipline is actually bigger than just achieving your goals. Having discipline means that when you say you're going to do something out loud or even to yourself in your head, you always follow through with the action. You're dependable. People can count on you. You can count on yourself. It means having unshakable self-trust that when you say you're going to do something, your words are a superpower and it always gets done. So you know all those examples I gave you guys earlier, like starting to work out then failing, trying to eat healthier than binging on a large pizza pie, waiting an hour before an assignment is due. Those are all things that I have personally done many times, okay? Many times. And that is honestly just a small glimpse of some of the things that I've done as a result of not having any sort of discipline. But I also know how to get from that version of myself to who I am now. Someone who is a woman of her word. You know, my whole life, I used to think that only a certain type of person had discipline. Like it was always the smartest person that you have in your class, the most athletic person on your team, the most pretty and popular girl in your school. You know those people where things just seem to come so easy to them? And it's like effortless for them to be successful. I felt like I was never any of those things. And me constantly setting these goals for myself and failing every single one of them only confirmed my own beliefs about myself. So as a result, I didn't have motivation for anything. My words, when I said I was gonna start something, stop doing something, start to be this person, whatever, my words saying that had zero weight. Like my words were all capped. And you know, it's kind of sad when no one around you can trust what you say, not even yourself. And I never realized that my words were lies. So the day I actually learned to have discipline is quite literally the day I got tired of my own shit. Okay, I was tired of having my words mean nothing. So I decided I will no longer let myself say I'm going to do something if I know in the back of my mind your girl can't follow through. Okay, because this is the power of discipline. Ready? People that are doers and not just sayers, their words have dignity. And being someone who had no discipline at the time, I had no dignity and I was tired of that. And if you're watching this right now, it's a huge step for you because you are admitting to yourself that your words had no dignity, which leads me to my next point. Shift your identity. You want to shift your identity to align with the goals that you are trying to achieve. So becoming disciplined doesn't actually start with just starting good habits. It starts with our beliefs and thoughts about ourselves. So I actually got this from this amazing book that I'm reading. It's called Badass Habits by Jen Sincero. I highly recommend this book for your self-help journey, okay? I'm not gonna lie, a lot of self-help books,
they're boring.
Okay, they're boring. I'm sorry, I don't enjoy reading a lot of them. But this book is genuinely one of the books that made me audibly laugh out loud. Like, she is so funny. Listen, let's be real. We've all tried to set a goal for ourselves and failed. And what we believe our own identities to be is the reason why. It's why people who win the lottery usually end up spending all of their money. It's because they still identify themselves as someone who lacked money. Before I actually started my fitness journey and lost 30 pounds, I would constantly identify myself as someone who was lazy, unfit, unhealthy. And then I would wonder why I would always fail eating healthy and working out. And it's because subconsciously I was affirming the identity that I set for myself. And that is why you need to control how you perceive yourself. So in the book, the author explains that me, you, we all have a tendency to do this because as humans, we have an primal instinct to always be right. It's literally like in our human nature because humans being right equals I am safe. As humans, we are wired for comfort, for safety. That's why it's uncomfortable to do things that we know is good for us. And our constant need to prove that our version of reality is real and right is literally so strong, girl, that it's stronger than our desire to actually change. So we're just gonna defend our identities to the death, even though we know that we're miserable, even though our identity and habits are something that we're not that proud of. Understanding this changed my life. Instead of identifying myself as lazy, fat, unhealthy, I just changed it to I am striving to become 0.00001% closer to my best self every day. Willpower is your muscle. I don't know who needs to hear this, but you need willpower to have discipline over yourself, whether it's trying to start eating healthy, starting to post on social media, follow your dream career, whatever. So start to think of your willpower as a muscle. And you know, muscles, we need to work them out in order for them to be strong. And you know when you haven't worked out in a long time and like Like walking up the stairs just feels so tiring. Try to lift the same weight as before, but it feels so much heavier. Trying to run a mile feels like literal hell on earth. So when you are consistently not working out your willpower, when it comes down to have discipline, to get your assignment done on time, to eat healthy instead of ordering a pizza pie, to get yourself to a workout class at 6 in the morning, it is going to feel 100 times harder getting your willpower to do the damn thing. So you want to exercise her, build her up. Do not dive in head first in the deep end, try to do a million things and completely transform yourself overnight. Start small. Start with the little healthy habits. So some of the healthy habits that I started incorporating, I started waking up at a set time every day instead of rolling out of bed whenever I wanted. I started having a set morning routine. I started journaling 5 to 10 minutes a day. And y'all know I love journaling, okay? I preach it on this channel literally every single video. Journaling has genuinely been a game changer for me since I started like 5 years ago. It's such a small but simple way to just take care of your mental health and your well-being. You guys always ask me, how do I start journaling? And don't worry, your girl got you. I actually just launched the waitlist to my new journal. It's called the Day by Day Journal. So it's actually a prompted self-help journal that I created for you guys to make it simple for you guys to follow literally every day. It has daily wellness prompts as well as free write space to let your thoughts flow. And if you don't know what to write, there's even a section for prompt ideas. Like I'm telling you guys, this journal is what I wish I had when I first started my self-improvement journey. So I really hope it helps you guys too. If you guys want your hands on the Day by Day Journal, I'm gonna have the link to the waitlist in my description box. Y'all better sign up ASAP because it is limited spots only. So hop on it before spots run out. And if you've never tried journaling before, whether it's mine, I just highly recommend it as a healthy habit in general. Like it will change your life. And yeah, even though it's tiring to work out your willpower muscle sometimes, you know, sometimes you don't want to get up when your alarm rings. You don't want to stay in on a Friday night to study for your test. And especially when you're trying to work out your willpower muscle after never using that muscle before, which was me at 19 years old. It's hard at first, but your willpower will always increase over time. And this is going to make the more challenging tasks seem more doable to you. The go and the no-go function of your brain. So I actually learned this concept from the Andrew Huberman podcast. He's a neuroscientist and talks a lot about self-help. So he actually talks about 2 critical functions in your brain. So the go function of your brain is the part that drives us to act. So for example, let's say I'm thirsty right now. The go function of my brain is what drives me to get up, walk to my kitchen, go pour me some water and drink the water. So the no-go function of your brain, it's responsible for preventing you from doing something you know that's not good for you. So it gives you self-control, helps you resist temptation. So for example, if you know that tomorrow morning you have to wake up early for work, the no-go function of your brain is what helps you resist the temptation to scroll through TikTok until 4 in the morning, which I have definitely done before. So he talks about how in modern day, most of it is not even our fault. Society has almost wired us to overemphasize the go function of our brain and never utilize the no-go function of our brain. So things like constantly checking your email, texting people back, scrolling mindlessly on social media, that all uses the go function of our brain, which leads us to not really use the no-go function of our brain, which weakens our ability to control our impulse. So to help this, he actually suggests intentionally practicing actions that requires us to use the no-go function of our brain. So things like resisting the temptation to pick up your phone and scroll despite seeing a bunch of notifications on your phone, or sticking to a workout plan despite the desire to quit and sit on your couch all day watching Netflix. Like intentionally practicing this will help you strengthen that no-go part of your brain, and therefore you're able to have more discipline over yourself. And listen, I know it sounds super intimidating to start a bunch of healthy habits out of nowhere. So seriously, like start small. Like start by journaling for 5 minutes every day. Start by drinking water and hydrating before your morning coffee. Start by going to bed earlier. And then over time, you can start to add more habits. And I promise you that discipline you have in all these little things will carry on to other huge things in your life, whether it's getting your dream career, becoming a social media influencer, getting your dream body, etc. I will say that my dream since I was young was to become a YouTuber, but I never thought I was good enough or interesting enough or talented enough to even have subscribers that would want to watch me. And it wasn't until I started working on my willpower for the little things, journaling daily, having a morning routine, a workout routine, that's when I started to develop my willpower muscle strong enough so that I finally started my YouTube channel and started posting consistently. So I promise you, if I can do it, I promise you can do it too. Get rid of any obstacles. I talked about this before in my last vlog, but the secret to following any healthy habit or achieving any goal that you have is getting rid of any and all obstacles that might potentially get in the way of you doing the good habit. If I want to start hitting the gym every morning, instead of morning of rushing through my morning routine, getting ready for the gym, packing my gym bag, filling up my water bottle, this, that, and the third, I try to get rid of any obstacles that I have. So the night before, I pack my gym bag, I fill up my water bottle so that it's ready for me, and I I always pick out my workout outfit the night before and I have it on my dresser ready for me. So when I wake up in the morning, I don't even have to think about it. I just get up, throw on my gym clothes, grab my gym bag, and I'm out the door. Like, I just try to make it as easy as possible for me to stick to the good habit, or else I'm gonna start to make excuses. Like, if I don't feel like doing something, I am the best excuse maker, okay? I'll be like, oh, I didn't get enough sleep last night, so maybe I should just sleep in and not go to the gym. Like, oh, I hit the gym yesterday, like I could just go tomorrow. I had this really bad habit, okay, of scrolling through my phone on TikTok, watching cat videos, even when I knew I had a busy ass day the next morning. So I'm a bit of an extremist, okay, but my urge to scroll on my phone at night was also very extreme, so I had to be extreme with it. I started charging my phone in my kitchen, and what I do is before I'm gonna go to bed, I get my covers all comfortable so that if I want to scroll on my phone, I literally have to physically get up from my comfortable bed and go walk outside to the kitchen to grab my phone to scroll. And I am usually way too lazy for all that. So basically, I am putting as many obstacles as I can to stop me from scrolling through my phone all night. Another example, if you want to start eating healthier, go to the grocery store and stock up your fridge with healthy food that you genuinely enjoy. I love tuna salad. I meal prep it and I literally have a bunch in my fridge, so whenever I'm hungry, it's easy access, it's ready for me. I also always have healthy snack options readily available. But yeah, as someone who used to struggle with binge eating, I'm a huge believer in not restricting yourself because that's what caused me to binge so much. Like, I try to eat healthy for the most part, but if I'm craving something, I'm gonna have my cookie. So I still have cookies and popcorn and ice cream in my fridge, in my pantry, but what I do is I have my healthier snacks in an area of my cupboard where it's just so easy to grab. Silence the inner roommate. Your inner roommate is that person in your head that as soon as it comes to following a healthy habit, like going to the gym or going out drinking with your friends all night, even though you have a huge test the next day, that annoying roommate in your head is gonna be like, oh, you could skip today's workout because you worked out yesterday. Or, oh, you can't miss out on drinking with your friends tonight because you're gonna feel like you're missing out. Yeah, me, you, we all got that inner roommate in our head that is so good at convincing us to not do what we gotta do. So silence it. As soon as you hear your inner roommate trying to justify things to you, literally tell him or her to shut up. When I start hearing excuses in my head, I will literally say in my head, like, shut up. And I picture it as an actual annoying roommate in my head instead of believing that it's me telling me these things. So instead of that, I start to become competitive with my inner roommate. I'm like, she's trying to see me at my downfall. She does not want to see me up. Like, okay, bet. I'm gonna get it done regardless of how I feel or what you're trying to tell me. Like, watch me prove you wrong. So I realized through experience that the reason you've developed this bad habit of saying you're gonna do something, start something, stop something, but finding yourself constantly failing is because you have a fear of change. Because having discipline requires you to change. So I want you to ask yourself, what fears come up when you imagine letting go of bad habits you need to ditch to become disciplined? So there's usually 3 fears that relate to this. It's your fear of failure, fear of discomfort, and fear of criticism from yourself or others. No matter what fear it is, these fears will paralyze you from making the right decisions and being disciplined. And you know, it's always followed by avoidant behavior, aka excuses, like, oh, I'll just do it tomorrow. Oh, I'll start next week. Oh, it's my sister's best friend's dog's birthday. I can go celebrate and drink all night instead of staying home to write my paper that's due. And there's a saying that true discipline always requires consistent action, often in the face of challenges or discomfort. So by overcoming your fears, you are creating the mental space that you need to be focused rather than being controlled emotionally by your fears. And overcoming all that is going to allow you to actually be committed, even when it's difficult, even when you're lacking motivation. And I realized that discipline is not just about forcing yourself to do things that you don't really want to do. It's about consistently choosing decisions and behaviors that align with the best version of yourself. I always say that growth comes from discomfort. Lose the addiction of feeling bad for yourself. So before I started my self-help journey, I was actually going through a lot in my life, like really difficult personal family matters that were completely out of my control. I was dealing with a lot of like finance struggles and stresses, trying to figure out how to pay for my college tuition when my family was struggling. I was struggling to make friends in college. I was so lonely. I was struggling in my classes. Like, they were just so much harder than high school, and it was just a really difficult transition for me. And then as a result of all of that, I was struggling with my weight because I was so stressed and anxious and depressed that I was binge eating my feelings to make myself feel better, but it actually made myself feel worse. But you know, all of this, I realized I was actually addicted to feeling bad for myself. Like, it was just a cycle. Like, since I was going through some tough times in my life, I would just self-sabotage, basically reinforce my belief that I just had it so bad in life, you know, which is not true. There's a lot worse things that people go through, and feeling bad for yourself and self-sabotaging is actually a privilege. And in reality, I had the full control in my power to change. It felt better short term to feel bad for myself and just like wallow in my depression, but long term, I was doing no service to future Lena, you know? know? And then finally, one day I was like, why am I doing this to myself? So once I realized all that, like a light bulb just switched in my brain and I had to ask myself, are you satisfied being addicted to feeling bad for yourself? Or would you rather put yourself through some discomfort to actually do something about the situation that you're in and get disciplined? So there's this analogy I heard that's called less than a mile, more than a mile. And it basically says that if you were to have to go a mile or less to get something that you really want, you would go on a little hot girl walk and walk it because it's not that far. On the other hand, if it was more than a mile, so let's say it was 3 miles, you probably wouldn't walk that. You would hop in your car or call an Uber and drive to get what you want. So the saying is saying that sometimes in life, when you feel like you're in the worst of a situation, like you're really just going through it in life and it feels like life is just humbling you, you are actually in a place where you are going to launch yourself to become the most disciplined, best version of yourself. You are going to be zooming, driving on your way there. And this is just so true. Like any rock bottom, humbling moment I've had a few cute ones, okay? I've always seen a huge growth in myself. Whether it was starting to work out, seeing a huge transformation in my body, feeling confident for the first time, starting my YouTube channel, creating a community of people that support me and we love and inspire each other every day, being dropped by one of the biggest fitness apparel brands that it was my dream to work with. I ended up discovering and creating self-development and self-help content because of it. So every single time some BS happened in my life, I've always developed so much faster. So if you're watching this and you are going through it right now, be excited because you can expect the biggest growth because God does not let any pain go in vain. So I really hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any tips to build discipline that helped you, leave them in the comments. Check the comments. I read all of my comments. Also, if you're a real one, follow me on Instagram and TikTok for more motivation, self-help content. I love you guys so, so much and I hope to catch you in my next video. Bye guys.
우회전 taking a ride to join a lake.